Our title reader tonight is Phil Hahn.
Hello.
Thank you, Phil.
You bet.
And our judge is Len Cook. And has, and he can explain the photograph. 47, what caught my eye here was more than 250,000 frames of film exposed and personally developed.
Yep.
I think
Over a career in photojournalism, yes.
I think it takes 10,000 to be an expert. So this is like 25 times that.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of silver.
A lot of film-based experience and digital-based experience as well. Adobe certified Photoshop instructor. He has a studio where he provides instruction called Lens Visions Studio. And 47 years of professional experience as a photojournalist, chief photographer, director of photography, and director of photography with a staff of 13 full-time photojournalists. So this is our first time to have Len judging for us, but with a resume like that, we figure we'll probably learn a lot tonight. Really looking forward to this. So with that, I'll stop sharing.
I read your bio, Len, and it was great.
Thank you.
Bear with me a second. Feel free to keep talking while I find my other.
Blah, blah, blah.
Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Okay. Share screen. And we're ready to start.
Creative, basic, one image.
Here.
Eucalyptus trees.
Yeah, this is delightful. It's a type of image that has become very recently has become very popular, and that is intentional camera movement, where we've got a mix of images that the images are derived from either a single exposure, or in this case looks like a multiple of exposures. And then part of it is that the camera is moving, and here the camera is moving in a vertical direction. The result in some pictures is a complete abstract, but here the result is quite a nice dreamy look to these eucalyptus trees, giving a lovely sense of walking through an enchanted forest. The composition is quite good. We've got a nice sense of diagonal rhythm moving from the right edge back into the background on the left edge. So the photographers manage the exposures quite well and manage the post-processing quite nicely. Next image, please.
Creative intermediate, 6 images. Bubbling over.
Bubbling over. This is a real interesting take on bubbling water, primarily because of the color palette. We've got the purple in the background and the gold in the water. Presumably the gold in the water is from sunlight coming through the water, perhaps at sunset or sunrise near daybreak. So the effect is almost sculptural. It is almost it sort of resembles this sculpture of a figure. So the photographers handled it really well with some very sharp areas and lots of and the background is completely out of focus, making the colorful water stand out even more strongly away from the background. So high impact counts. Impact counts a lot. And so we've got a single subject, well rendered, and with beautiful complementary colors in the palette. Next image, please.
Up the down escalator.
Indeed, the it took me a little bit to sort through this picture. I will admit, and the escalator stairs on the upper part of it really intrigued me. And then I realized, okay, this is a reflection on ripples of water, and I took my head off and turned it around upside down, put it back on, and the picture then looked much less interesting. So the photographer has done a nice job of giving us what at first seems to be an optical illusion, and then with a little bit of thought we realize just what it is: a reflection on a water, a pond of water, of this piece of this crane, so or gate. I'm not sure whether I guess it's a crane. So good exposure, clever approach by turning the picture upside down. Next image, please.
Kaboom.
Yeah, I like the work. I like the craftsmanship, the idea. But the picture really says it. The title of the picture really says it. Kaboom, and of course we've got a our everyone's worst nightmare here, and that is what looks like a thermonuclear explosion going off in the background. So the technique is well used, and the effect overall is quite good. But boy, the picture itself is spooky. It's kind of spooky, and for me, it's a little off-putting. But as far as the subject is concerned, but technically the photographer did a really good job. So we have to, sometimes we don't, I don't always have to agree with a picture to note that it is well done and well handled. Next image, please.
Dancing in the dirt.
Oh, this is so fun. This is so much fun. You take a bunch of pictures of this sweet this sweet little girl here, and you combine them all. Oh, wait a minute. I'm rethinking this. This is a bunch of little girls. I thought it was a composite when I first saw it, and I was still stuck with the composite aspect. Joy. The picture is just full of joy in any case, whether it's a composite, as I suspected to begin with, or a single frame, which it certainly appears to be now. It's just filled with joy and childlike action of children in this soft turf here. Delightful image, well composed, and just a hint of blur here and there. So the photographer used just the right shutter speed to capture both expressions and some blur in the hair and movement. Good job. Next exposure, please.
Bodega head as seen through the imagination of an artist.
Yeah, here is a landscape where the weather, the effects here are fun, and of course that's the primary impact of the photo is the special effects that the photographer has applied in post. The special effects, however, in addition to the special effects, which are interesting and well done, the color palette is good. We need a little bit stronger center of interest. What's the focal point of the picture? Where is the center of interest in the picture? And my eyes kind of wander around the picture a little bit, looking for that anchor, looking for that central point. Overall, the photographer, again, the craftsmanship on the picture is good. It's a well thought out use of colors, and in general, a good composition, just needing that one extra push that gives us a center of interest. Next image, please.
Meet my dogs, Jekyll and Hyde.
This is dazzling. This is a triumph here of really good at this level in particular. This is really good compositing. And again, as I said with the bubbling water picture, impact counts for a lot. And boy, oh boy, doesn't this picture have impact. You just can't look away from it when you first see it. A little disturbing because there are two-headed critters born, and unfortunately unfortunately or fortunately for them, I don't know. They don't usually survive very long. So there's that element of, oh my gosh, poor thing. And then you realize, no, it's not a poor thing. It's an excellent composite. Really good work and nice studio work as a foundation for the picture. Bravo, photographer. Next image, please.
Creative advanced, 6 images. Water offering.
Water offering, yeah, this is a ritual. This is an interpretation of a ritual that involves lots and lots of cups and bowls. And the interpretation here deals with the color harmonies that are found in many of the water offering type ceremonies in different cultures. And so the photographer has picked up on those colors, picked up on the color scheme, and has given us this fragmented picture to invite us to interpret what the cultural scene is like. So we have a sense of a bowl on the bottom of the picture, and then these covers or traditional garments on the shoulder of an abstracted figure here. Tells an interesting and slightly difficult story, but tells it in a very attractive fashion. Next image, please.
Party on.
Whoa, this one I can sort of see this as an illustration for a really bizarre story in a magazine somewhere. It's a little it's quite abstract, of course. It's an extreme caricature with with a bizarre character at the center of it, wide open to all kinds of different interpretations. Bring your own ideas, and all of them are nightmarish. So the photographer here has meant to shake us up, and he shook me up and did a good job with it. It's quite an amazing combination of pictures. But leaves me still with a puzzle. What is this about? I'm going to have to bring my own story. Next image, please.
Rescuers scouting flooded areas of Sonoma County find whale swimming near vineyard.
This is another terrific, wonderful composite photo. And you look at it and it's striking immediately, because is it a composite? We see these whale tails sticking up out of the water all the time. We see lots and lots of pictures of that, but you don't see it with a vineyard in the background. And it's so believable at first. And then the photographer has really engaged me here with this composite, fooling me completely for a couple of seconds, making me wonder what's going on. The composite is terrific. Technically, it's very well done, even with the reflection and all. It gets a big wow from me. Really nicely done. Great use of an otherwise not terribly exciting emergency type photo. We got the emergency people in the background, and I don't mean to minimize for an instant the need for these people or their heroism in difficult times, but it isn't one of the peak excitement moments on record here. But making the most of that picture. Wow, look at that. Great composite. Good job. I applaud. Next image, please.
Sunflower for Ukraine.
Hmm.
Yeah, here are the blues and yellows that we have become so familiar with for such a tragic reason. And the photographer here has given us a new way to look at it, a new and fresh way to look at it and to think about things that are going on in the world without being confronted by the horror of those things. And so often it is gentle persuasion that helps us to think most deeply about things. The photographer has given us nice gradients of blue and lovely haze of yellow, very soft details throughout, but the details are still there. We know exactly what this is, even without the caption or the title. Soulfully done. Next image, please.
Manzanita Magic version 2.
I've always been fascinated. I think just about everybody who has encountered manzanita has been fascinated by the red bark, the red flesh of the plant underneath the bark. And here we have manzanita, the tissue of the plant, the wood of the plant, after the bark has been burned away, the wood of the plant emerges as its familiar red surface. So the photographer has captured that pretty well. And also it looks like reducing everything but the red to black and white tones, which helps, of course, helps the red stand out. So there's nothing left but the red of the wood of the manzanita. Nice work. Next image, please.
Evanescent Autumn.
I mentioned before the use of intent. ICM is what the initials that are usually applied to this technique, and that is intentional camera movement. And here we have, once again, a vertical camera movement giving us lots of up and down stripes, vertical stripes. In this case, the photographer has included a person. The eucalyptus trees that we looked at before started a diagonal on the right, moving into the background on the left. And this picture does the same thing. But here we have a person who we can tell by the looks of the step, the stride. This person is striding into the picture. So it adds a really different and wonderful kind of energy to the image. A very spiritual looking thing, very spiritual looking image. And I am also reminded of the Scream by Munch. The painter, the color palette here is similar to that, and the effect overall with the red up in the sky, the red up in the sky, and the red down in the lower left part of the picture also calls me to that just a little bit. So overall, very effective, very spooky and spiritual. Again, a spiritual looking picture. Next image, please.
Creative Masters, 6 images. On target.
Yeah, the photographer here has smoothed out the image beautifully. We have no grain visible, and the which makes the water even smoother than what water usually looks. Oftentimes, when you have a very smooth surface like water, the noise or grain in the picture becomes emphasized somewhat. The photographer has suppressed that either by using a very high resolution camera, or maybe perhaps more likely a little bit of grain smoothing or noise reduction in post. either way, the smoothness, it all comes out to be so glossy and smooth and slick. It's impressive in that sense. The timing also with this one drop hanging above all else is also delightful. The drop probably emerged from this hole in the bottom center of the picture in the water. Just the follow-up to the dollop of water that made the splash. The photographer has also given us a whole bunch of wonderful colors in the background reflected on the water. So this is oftentimes these are very controlled. These splash pictures are done in very controlled circumstances, and the photographer has given us a panic of color reflected in the surface of the water. A lot of fun in the picture. I like it a lot. Next image, please.
Free at last, ringneck parakeets native to India have produced thriving feral populations around the world.
This is a clever and superb set made up of composites. We've got the parakeet in the foreground, and of course we've got the aerial parakeets behind it, and then we have the cage in the background, and the construction or the type of cage also calls to India, although the parakeets may be, these parakeets may, I don't know, they may be in San Francisco. There's quite a thriving colony of these parakeets in San Francisco, and they get a little bit of attention from time to time. But good use of the blank blue sky, which you find out you've got that emptiness there, and oh, we got this perfectly appropriate Indian inspired cage that has opened up to let these birds loose, and here they are in our own town. Nicely done. Next image, please.
Cattail totems on a winter eve.
Completely abstracted. We know they're cattails because the caption tells us so, but an aspect of the picture is what seems to be the seeds flying loose, perhaps in the wind or in the breeze, as the cattails bob back and forth. Again, we've got the intentional camera movement with a lot of vertical movement, giving the cattails, stretching the cattail stalks out even more. Pardon me, a little scratchy voice. So, and then along with that, we have the seeds from the cattails flying through the air. The whole scene rendered in a very abstract fashion, but a lot of excitement, in the sense that all these seeds flying through the air in a storm of dust and pollen and seeds and cattails to be in the future. Next image, please.
Fractured glass sunset.
Terrific. Terrific. The photographer has given us a sunset. Yes, the photographer has started with a sunset in the hills, and we see the hills in the background and hills in the foreground, green, the green of foliage or grasses in the foreground, and we have a tree, and we have the night sky coming in, the deep blue of the night sky, and then the clouds with their catching the rays, the deep red rays of the setting sun. The photographer has reworked the picture brilliantly. The composition is really interesting based on the sunset. The sun is presumably setting someplace behind the tree there, but look at all these diagonal lines that the photographer has emphasized, just all headed to the same vanishing point right behind the tree element in the picture. Beautifully done. The arrangement of the glass, fractured glass, the way the photographer has arranged the lines, Nicely done. Next image, please.
Sometimes dreams become reality.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting perspective here. Again, this is one where I kind of was wondering, should I take my head off again and turn it upside down? But it looks as though the photographer here is working into a mirror, reflecting back across this space or auditorium, whatever it is.
What's my drum?
So the dreamlike quality is there. There's no doubt about it. But I wind up looking at the picture wondering, gee, what is this? And I keep getting lost trying to figure out what's going on here. What am I looking at? And so I'm gonna have to dream it up on my own. Interesting composition with the downward facing photographer perched at the top of the picture, looking down into the rest of what we're seeing here. So am I lying on my back in the bottom of a well in an airport terminal? So hard to tell, but interesting composition. Next image, please.
Emergence.
This is brilliant. Everything hangs together beautifully in this picture, and the spirit of the critter coming out of the trees. I'm perfectly willing to believe that this is the face of a wolf until I look a little bit more closely and think, no, that's probably a pretty friendly old dog. Nonetheless, though, the sense of a wild thing emerging from mixed with the tree and the frost and the winter, everything goes together to produce lots of impact. Again, very strong central subject, lots of impact in the image. The blue eyes and the dog help. Everything, all the bits and pieces come together quite nicely in this image. The photographer has given us beautiful highlights throughout, a long scale in the highlight end of the picture, managed quite nicely. Next image, please.
Journalism intermediate, 4 images. Napa Lights, 1 of 3. The Napa Lighted Arts Festival is an annual event in Napa. It offers a free walking tour of art exhibits featuring lights. Here, an artist projects an image on the old courthouse. Number 2, some of the exhibits are interactive, allowing visitors to walk or bike through the lights. Number 3, the lighted artworks are popular with photographers. This year's event runs through February 19th and is sponsored by the City of Napa Hotels and Inns.
Nice story. The photographer has given us 3 pictures that hang together well. They go together well. In that we have kind of an overall picture of, we've got something to scale, the scale of a building, and it shows the size of these, the size of the projections. We've got a whole building covered with a projected image. Next image, please.
2 of
And
3. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This also gives us a sense of scale because we've got another part of the exhibit. And again, it shows the way in which visitors can interact with it, interact with the displays themselves. We've got one person cycling through it, another person walking a dog. Well, we got 2 people cycling through it and another person walking a dog. So, okay, 3 people cycling through it. Now, and here we have a more intimate or a closer up view of people interacting with the exhibit. And oh, look, we even have an image in the cell phone, in the LCD screen of the cell phone, of the picture this fellow is about to take. So the photographer here has done a nice job on scale and nice job on showing the different aspects that people encounter in this show. Next image, please.
World Guitar Show, 1 of 3. This year's show featured hundreds of guitars on display for potential buyers to examine, play, and negotiate their purchase price. Marin Center, January 14th to 15th, 2023. Number 2, exhibitors include custom guitar manufacturers. This acoustic guitar by Moonstone Guitars featured intricate inlays of abalone shells on the neck and around the sound bowl. 3, this lineup of vintage 1960s and 1970s Telecasters displayed prices appealing primarily to collectors or serious musicians, demanding handling with care.
Again, we have a photographer who has taken a look at the situation and wants to report on the situation, and the event, of course, is guitars. And here we see once again a sense of scale, and that sense of scale shows us, wow, there's a whole lot of guitars here, and we see people wandering in, what it looks like wandering in among the guitars, and not just walking around behind them or walking at some distance from them. They're merging and walking in among the guitars. Effective presentation. Second image, here we have a close-up on one of the more interesting guitars, and gives people who are not all that familiar with guitars some clue as to just how exceptionally fancy and artistic the guitar construction can be. And finally, we have even though these are vintage guitars, they're very different from the previous guitar, and different looking from the very large group of guitars that we saw before. But these are guitars that a lot of us can remember from the scenes of our youth, when electric guitars first started to show up on the scene. So we've got we're capturing everything from modern art to vintage memories. Nicely done on the part of the photographer. Good sense of scope, good sense of the range of what's available here at the show. Next image, please.
Storm King, 1 of 3. The Storm King in New Windsor, New York, offers acres of manicured and wild pathways, picnic areas, and outdoor sculptures. 2, the sculptures are integrated into the environment. This serpentine wall snakes across 2,278 feet of forest. 3, the towering steel structure, E equals MC squared, is offset by the pastoral landscape that surrounds it.
Well, one of the most important aspects of journalism, there are two aspects in journalism that are very important. One is people, and the other is something happening. What's happening? What is current? What's now? This group of pictures doesn't emphasize very much in either of those categories. So what we look for, we do see some people here, but we're real distant from them. What we look for in these is a sense of the travel. It's more of a travel picture. These 3 pictures comprise more of a travel sequence than a news sequence. So the journalism here is in travel journalism, basically. And the photographer has done a nice job capturing an overall scene here. Then the next image, we've got picnickers, and then the wall. This is the wall is obviously an attractive feature and well presented. And here is the probably the centerpiece of the park because of its the strangeness of the sculpture. The photographer here has given us this piece with a wonderful blue sky, wonderful cloudscape in the background. So as a travel recommendation, it would work really well on the travel page of the local newspaper. Next image, please.
Cheese Heaven. The California Artisan Cheese Festival returns this March to Sonoma County. A weekend of cheese tasting and education will be held March 24th through 26th.
Sometimes these pictures were called advances because it tells a story in advance, or we're trying to tell a story in advance of what's really happening. And they're always challenging to take. They're always challenging to create pictures like that. This is a tasty picture. This is a food page type picture. And we have a nice portrait of several different kinds of cheese. So the photographer has given us something nice to use on the food page. Again, it might have been helpful to have something a little more animated in the picture, and also perhaps kind of moving the cheese around just a little bit to hide the Dixie label on the plate. I think we could have done without that. But overall, nice portrait of cheese. Next image, please.
Journalism Advanced, 5 images. In January 2023, rescuers in Sonoma County used watercraft to patrol flooded roads. They were checking submerged vehicles for possible victims trapped by the floods.
And this is the comment that I made earlier about emergency personnel with the whale tail. Again, we don't have we don't have drama in this picture or in that picture, and the whale tail really gave us something, a high energy image. The scene here, though, tells us somewhat more about how these people are getting to the work that they're doing, the valuable work that they're doing, and the scope of the flooding. This says just a little more about the scope of the flooding because of the way that it reaches around into the beyond the corner at the left of the picture, and also the depth of the water here up to the hubs of the emergency fire truck here, or the rescue truck. So lots of good scope in the image, and telling us about how these emergency personnel are going about doing their jobs. This is news. Next image, please.
Horta, 1 of 2. This port on the island of Faial Azores was an important mid-Atlantic stopover for commercial ships in the 18th and 19th centuries. Since the 1960s, it has been used by yachts. Number 2, it has become custom for the crews of private yachts to leave paintings on the walls of the harbor to bring them good luck on the rest of their transatlantic voyages.
Again, this is a travel type picture. Unfortunately, here we have a little trouble with, once again, focal point. What is the focal point of the picture? We can see lots of boats. I understand that. We can see lots of masts. I understand that. But there's no the picture of lots of boats, but not much anchor, to make a poor pun. But I always look for that element in the picture which anchors the image and says, here is the part of the picture that represents the whole, and here is the point of the picture. Here, got a little bit of trouble with that on this image. Next image, please. Next. And again, the photographer needed to make one of these signs, get it really close to one of these signs where something is really recognizable and not just worn away, so that we could have something, a close-up of something that represents the whole. Again, we have a picture that needs some kind of a center element, some kind of an anchor to tie the picture together. So both of these pictures needed something extra, and particularly in light of the weather. The weather is just gray and dull. Needs a little bit more excitement. Sylvia and Antonio in the foreground here almost makes it, but not quite. Next image, please.
Outside the Renton factory, Boeing 737 MAX jets make a strange sight from the Lake Washington Hyatt. Prior to delivery, the jets are flown to China for interior work and exterior painting.
Well, of course, this picture is all about juxtapositions. It works really well. It's all about juxtaposition. We've got this delivery truck in the foreground. I mentioned foreground. What are you going to do in the foreground? And that at first seems to be the subject. It may masquerade as the subject. And then as soon as you investigate the picture at all, you see these jets in the background, and they're all sitting here right on the edge of the pier, like they're getting ready to go fishing or something. Gee, what's going on? And then in the caption, we get the rest of the story. And in photojournalism, one of the things that becomes important is, do the words and the story, do the words and the picture go together in a way that tells a complete story? And in this case, it really does. We're at the jet factory, dude. And the jet factory happens to be right next to a luxury hotel. Probably shouldn't be surprising, but I just never thought of it that way. So juxtapositions, we've got the jets right sitting on the water here, all stuck together in kind of an unfamiliar pattern. And then we got the delivery truck in the foreground, and the jets are going to be delivered, and all of that stuff. Effective picture, fun, worthwhile picture for the local page. Next image, please.
Depiction of Mongolian children's adventure book, one of around 100 ice sculpture exhibits at the Fairbanks World Ice Art Festival. Around 10,000 people attend each year. March 2014.
So this is the third time I'm going to mention that sometimes journalism includes travel type pictures. The first one was of the park, a series of pictures of the park. The second one was the boats. And here we have, I think, the best of the bunch, where the photographer has zeroed right in on a single element that is very strong, a very strong element, and has its own storytelling elements within it, with the Mongolia label on this ice book here. And then the colors are complementary, with the orange on the left and the cyan and blue on the right, and the lights, the gold looking light coming in from the left hand side. So photographer is zeroed in on something, got a good angle on it. Everything that's here is clearly presented and represented. Good job. Next image, please.
The glass roof of the atrium at the Rijksmuseum Amsterdam, renovated in April 2013, has two white sculptural chandeliers that allow daylight to stream in, illuminate the space, and improve acoustics.
Busy, really busy image, but of course the architecture itself is really busy. What might be wonderful in this case would be to wait until later in the day, as the sun begins to fade and the light begins to fade, around dusk, when we can still see some sky through the panels, but then the lights in the chandelier, which is a light source, the lights in the chandelier will become even more prominent than they are now. We can see, of course we can see the light bulbs, but I think there's more to this. I think there's more energy in the lighting structure than what we see here. And I think that I would send, as a photo editor or a photo chief photographer, I would send the photographer back at a time later in the day. Again, it's a travel type image. There's no news here, but it is an interesting sculpture, interesting bit of architecture, I should say. Next image, please.
Journalism Masters, 6 images. Members of San Francisco cheer tumble through the air at Sonoma Pride 2022.
In my teaching, I try to convey to people when they're doing action pictures, there are certain things that suggest action, like blur. I mentioned with the little girls running in running in a circle that the photographer had gotten blur in the picture, just enough blur to give us that extra fillip of blur. And so if people include blur in a picture, that implies action. You can't show action directly in a still image, so you have to imply it. And I also emphasize to people that another way to imply action without having any blur in it is to have things in midair. And oh, look, we have things in midair here. And the most important thing you can have in midair to really give people a shocking implication of motion is a human being. Human beings don't fly. And when human beings are in midair, our brains immediately know this is motion. There's motion happening in this picture. So here the photographer also has a little bit of blur in the hair. And the timing here is good. The energy is excellent. The movement is almost synchronized and almost chaotic. So it's hovering somewhere between organized and chaotic. I love the picture. It's just a really nicely done picture and communicates the event perfectly. I have to tell you though that there would be a lengthy and probably vigorous discussion in the newsroom, any newsroom where this picture is about to be used in the and distributed. There'll be a vigorous discussion and perhaps even argument about whether it should be captioned the rapture. So because of the somewhat chaotic nature of the movement that we see here and all the hands reaching up. Me too, me too. Okay, next image, please.
Gallery visitors light artwork with cell phones during a planned blackout in South Africa. Due to electrical shortages, hours-long load shedding happens 3 to 4 times daily, so people must adjust.
Yeah, this is an excellent news type picture because it shows exactly what the caption says it shows. People must adjust. And so people are going to art galleries at a time when there are blackouts, there are planned blackouts. Okay, so while you're in the gallery, the lights are going to go out for a while. Oh, really? So, oh, okay, we brought our own flashlights so that we could look at the artwork anyway. Good storytelling picture. The composition is centered, of course, on the image in the middle of the picture, but and as well it should be, because now we're seeing the flashlights. See what the flashlights are looking at. We see the people looking at the pictures, enjoying themselves despite the planned blackouts. Good job. Good reporting. Next image, please.
Napa Winter Lights Fest, traffic builders, 1 of 3. The addition of music to the lighting of balloons in 2020. The expansion of illumination along the riverfront in 2022. The use of more complex video projection in 2023.
So we've got an abundance. We have an abundance of color and light in these images. And of course, it is the Winter Lights Festival, Winter Lights Fest. So the photographer is going out here looking to say, okay, what can I come back with that shows lights in the Winter Festival? And the balloon picture to begin with is a real good starting point because of the color. And then we have these sparkling lights here. The photographer has gone around to find a reflection in the river to double the lights. There we go. And then we have the projection on the spire. So the photographer's done a good job. It's just what we don't have is a little bit of personal touch. We want to see some reaction, a little bit more reaction, a little bit more personal energy in the faces of the people who are participating. Next image.
Drag performer readies for show, Remedios Cuba.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's an interesting backstage picture as a travel image. It kind of sort of works in the absence of a show picture to go with it. It kind of hurts as a travel picture. So, and of course, there's no real news in the picture here at all. It needs the picture. After this person is ready, what does the show look like in order for it to be a worthwhile travel picture? So as journalism, it's not the strongest picture in the group. Next image, please.
The cobra ignores the punji flute to face the more charming camera, Shapur, India.
Yep, cobra in a basket, no doubt about it. I understand the fangs have been removed from these snakes before they're put out on display like this, so as to not destroy any tourists' vacations with a poisoning of with a bite on the wrist. So again, as a travel picture, it's terrific. It shows what the scene looks like. It shows the performer, and it shows the intrepid tourist getting in there for a close-up. Nice image, good storytelling, well composed. In general, well composed. We've included the key elements. Next image, please.
With modernization, the Russian River floodplain has been reduced to 1/5 of its historic size, resulting in flooding, 1 of 2, submerged, 2 of 2, floodplain.
Okay, again, one of the key elements in journalism in particular is the human element, and we don't really have that in these pictures. We've got some news, we show some flooding, but and we see the impact on the land. We see the impact on the land, but the human impact is distant, is a little bit too distant here. So scope. This shows scope and a little bit of depth. Next image, please.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break.
What's up?
It is. I
Good
see that.
talking with you.
Pictorial basic, 5 images.
Oh, look at this. This is lovely. We have the photographer here has leveraged the foreground really well. We've got some little tiny shrubs in the foreground reaching across this beautiful body of water. And the etching of the peaks from left to right in a nice big stripe right across the center of the picture really gives the picture a 3D effect. So by combining the foreground effect with the lighting on the etching of the rocks running right across the center of the picture, the photographer has given us a nice strong 3D feeling for this body of water and this mountainous scene. Nice skyscape too, nice cloudscape in the sky. And it's interesting that the mass on the right side, the big dark mass of stone on the right side, is now balanced out by the combination of the cloudscape and this much paler and less imposing white landscape on the left side of the picture. So the cloudscape and the combination of the cloudscape and the snow-covered slope there helped balance out the imposing heavy weight of the mass on the right. Nice composition on the part of the photographer, good choices. Next image, please.
Sunrise at Bosque del Apache.
Yeah, this is pretty high impact. Look at all of these birds and the colors in the sky, the birds silhouetted against this sky. And we can see them rising up just in the middle ground of the picture. We have in the foreground, we have some birds that are still browsing, still perhaps waking up. And then in the midground, we have some birds just rising up out of the water. And then we have a sky full of them, a sky full of flight. A nice set of choices on the part of the photographer. Good choice of shutter speed. We have nice sharply rendered wings. There's not much need. Again, what I mentioned is when you have things in midair, you don't have much need for blur, because that tells you this is a thing. These are things in motion. So next image, please.
Red-winged blackbirds take flight.
Wow.
This is dazzling. This is dazzling. The photographer here is presenting us with an optical puzzle. We have the birds against this background, and look at the background. The background is all speckles. So you've got the birds and the speckles, and the background and the foreground. The birds are all in a single plane, or they seem to be anyway. Mostly in a single plane, like you have a single plane of birds confronting us, like they're flying in a narrow wall space. And then the photographer, using a long lens, has brought the background right up nice and close, and the background is all speckled. So I wind up with my eyes going back and forth between the background and the birds, and it's an optical fun. It's just fun for my eyes, in addition to the dazzling nature of having this many birds all packed into one picture. So photographers made some terrific choices here and offered us some real eye candy. Next image, please.
Sugar, Iceland.
Yeah, terrific. Again, choice of shutter speed. I pick on these things because I can. Number one, and how did we get this foggy effect? Not everybody knows that a foggy effect like this is obtained by a long shutter speed, and as the water ripples and foams and so forth at our feet here in the foreground, the water gets blurred because the exposure is long enough so that it turns the water into fog rather than clear-cut water. Nice choice on the part of the photographer. The picture is dominated by this very large rock formation right in the front of us here, and it could be, but it isn't. It could be an alligator or a turtle, but it isn't. But it gives that hint of being a living thing. Next image, please.
Flooded blueberry farm.
Flooded indeed. Excuse me. Voice a little bit. This is almost abstracted. Again, we have nice fog in the air that gives us a nice dreamy quality to the image. And in the background, we have this one really well-formed, well-sculpted dead-looking tree. Of course, none of the trees have leaves on them in this season in this picture, but that tree sure seems to be dead in addition to not having any leaves. But it gives us a really strong, bold shape in the background, helping to add contrast into the foggy scene in the background. And all of these little stalks and fence posts here in the foreground add some interesting strangeness. Some of it is live plants. Some of it, of course, are stakes driven into the ground to hold fence. and hold wires to support the berries. So a mix of the natural and man-made in an interesting stew. Next image, please.
Pictorial, intermediate, 6 images. Splat.
Wow. Splash indeed. Wow, look at this. So much fun. This is just so much fun. Kids jumping in various stages of jumping off of this boat or dock or whatever it is. I'm not sure. Everybody having fun, great expressions, lovely image. Not a whole lot of interpretation going on for the photographer here, but the photographer did a good job with capturing shadows and highlights. So good range of tones, great range of expressions. Next image, please.
October morning, Shawangunk Range, Hudson Valley, New York.
This has a focal point in that we've got this red barn and a silo that goes with it, a grain silo that goes with it. So we have a focal point, but it is painfully small in the picture. So we have a peaceful, calm landscape that could have used a little bit stronger use of the focal point here. Sometimes wandering through these pastures to get a little bit better angle on these structures is a pretty good idea. I've done that a lot. Most of the time I'll ask permission first and see if I can get a better angle on a structure, but I sure would like to see that red barn figure more prominently in this image, because all the rest of the colors work really well. The sky is delightful. Next image, please.
Contemplation.
Yeah, it takes a second. There he is right up at the top, on the top right there. I would, yes, it's an effective picture. The size of the figure relative to the stone is telltale, and the stone scarp, or the stone peak here, is not enormous or mountainous by any means, but it is imposing. It is imposing, and it's full of these wonderful fracture lines, these terrific fracture lines. And the photographer here could perhaps benefit from a little bit of instruction, or a little bit of coaching, I should say mentoring, in technical issues, technical treatment of the picture. I think there's a lot in this picture, and I think there's even more to be had with a little bit of tweaking. Next image, please.
Jumping off.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? This is wonderful. I saw an expression that was supposed to be from some very wise person, who said the bird does not fear that the branch won't hold it. Of course, because the bird, yeah, and here the pelican does not fear that it may have to splash in the water. So the translucence of the surf is lovely. The photographer has captured a wonderful moment with a beautiful light on the birds coming from the reflection on the water. Look at that, coming up against their chests and up against the bottom of their bodies. That's terrific. Just well seen, beautiful background, wonderful surf, terrific timing. Next image, please.
Self-portrait.
Yeah, look how long this guy's legs are. Holy smokes. That was of course my first reaction when I saw this picture, and then I looked at it and I realized, hey, wait a minute. He's backed up against a piece of walkway or a stairway or something here, and those are the shadows of his legs, Len. So good use of good use of a silhouette, really good use of a silhouette, really good use of the shadows, makes for a grabber, an high impact picture. The out of focus aspect of the background uh, really makes a dream or almost a science fiction scene out of this, of course mixed along with the blue color of it all. So effective high impact picture with a twist, the long legs. Next image, please.
A touch of amber, emerald, and orange sapphire.
Nice little close-up. Nice little close-up of a very small flower with very shallow depth of field. Just a few of the little tiny micro buds in there are sharp, and a little bit of the petals. That's the only sharp part of the picture. The rest of the background is blurred out like crazy. To allow this flower to just jump right out of the picture, jump right off the background. So, and of course the color combination with the background and the subject, good choice. And we've got good light on the stem of the flower, and the vignetting where the photographer has made the corners of the picture quite pale. The vignetting goes with the lighting on the stem perfectly. Next image, please.
Pictorial advance, 7 images. Grapes on parade.
No kidding. Grapes on parade. Wow, this may be the best grapevine picture I've ever seen, and I'm not kidding. Boy, look at that. Look at that mass of really luscious looking grapes, and the age on this grapevine. I'll bet this grapevine is even older than I am. Maybe not, but the texture on the grapevine and there's this bulging lusciousness of these ripening grapes. They've got to be just about ready to pick. In any case, it sure says grapes and just screams it right out. The photographer has chosen a great angle, because now we can look under it and see that this same scene is repeated over and over and over again all throughout this vineyard. Nice image. Good job. Next image, please.
Adventures with Daddy, Salmon Creek Beach.
Too sweet. This is just too sweet. The picture is too sweet. We've got this girl climbing up onto the rock, and you know, been there, done that. I haven't been to this particular place, but I have been through this adventure, pulling my daughter up along behind me, and for a bunch of different scenes, fishing and camping and things like that. So really touches me. But beyond that, oh, look at the surf. The photographer has managed the post-processing here by turning this into black and white, and by perfectly exposing all of that surf. We can practically see the surf droplet by droplet by droplet all throughout the picture. Beautifully done. And if I look hard enough, I can see where some of the work was done, but I don't want to look that hard. What I want to do is just enjoy the picture. A little more foreground. I think there's more foreground than the picture really needs, but that's quibbling. That's really quibbling. Great emotion, great technical work. Next image, please.
When you suddenly realize it's too big to swallow.
Yeah. I have mentioned before, impact. One of the things that we always look for is the impact in a picture. And if you have to look for the impact, then there isn't any impact. And this picture is loaded with it. We can almost think our way into this otter's mind, can't we? A mouthful of fish like that. So it's just a terrific nature image. Real close, up close and personal with the otter and his fish or her fish. Excellent, superb image. Next image, please.
Morning flight.
I mentioned in an earlier picture that things in a couple of earlier pictures, that things in midair don't really need blur for us to know that they are in motion. But you know what? That doesn't take blur off the table as a mechanism for artistic expression. Here we have birds in flight, and no matter what the photographer would have done here, if the photographer had used a higher shutter speed, the foreground reflections still would have looked very blurry because of the water, the texture of the water. The photographer has chosen instead to use a slightly slower shutter speed, pan with these creatures just a little bit. The foreground stuff becomes more blurry. And we have blur in the wings and some quite severe blur in some of the bodies of the birds. Altogether, the combination of the blur above and the blur below works to make this a lovely kind of almost poetic images of birds in flight. The picture opens at the left quite gracefully, and it closes at the right almost as gracefully. Nicely contained composition. Next image, please.
From the series Parts of Things, Painted Bill.
Painted Bill. Yeah, looks like the beaks of birds. I'm looking at this and I've been wondering what it is. It looks like parts of aircraft wings, actually, but I don't know for sure. I'm certainly no aircraft expert, but interesting shapes. Oftentimes, I will see heavy-duty burning in. The photographer has given a very strong dark vignette, particularly noticeable on the left side of the, pardon me. Particularly on the left side of the picture. And when it darkens the background like that, darkens the sky or whatever is the background, I usually object to it. But in this case, it works quite well. It just plain works. So rules out the window and prejudices out the window. The extreme darkening works with this picture and works with the rest of the structure. All these diagonal lines are powerful. So we've got some parts that are pointed, all arranged in diagonals by the photographer's composition. Powerful composition. That red is the final, the coup de grace, in a very dark black and white composition. Just these streaks of red really add to it. Next image, please.
Majestic in death, life is harsh in high elevations of the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, I want to see this tree stand out a little bit more from the background. I think we could get the tree to be lighter all throughout its entire body. And also, the tree starts to merge in the sky in a way that we lose the distinctiveness of the tree from the sky. In a way that could be spiritual, with the tree merging. But I think I think the picture would be a little more powerful if the photographer could wait a little bit and get some sky, a break in the sky through the clouds behind the branches of the tree, so that we have a more distinct structure of it. Good idea. A little bit of technical work, I think, would improve the tree. A little bit brighter rendition. Next image, please.
Mushroom near Petaluma Trail.
Wow. Mushrooms are so weird. They are just such weird things. they open up like this, and then all of the spores start spilling out from beneath these, from between these fleshy fingers that hang down under. I don't know what they're called. They're certainly, most certainly not called fingers, but whatever they are called, they're fleshy looking, and they're fragile. And when they open up like that, the spores just spring out of them and stream into the air to be scattered everywhere. The photographer has given us just a luscious, in your face view of this structure, and it is really sensuous. I can almost feel like I can reach into the picture and just kind of flick my finger back and forth across these flutes here, this fluted plant, and knock some bits off. So confrontation with the microscopic it's wonderful. Nice image, well exposed, good choice of focus in just the right places. Next image, please.
Pictorial Masters 10 images. The boxer.
Yeah, I'm kind of the what comes across for me here is kind of an ambivalent feeling. The boxer's his expression. He's in tight. I understand it's a boxing pose. So it's technically it's a lovely portrait of a handsome young man. The expression is ambivalent to me. It's ambiguous. Is this a tough guy pose? If I'm sure, I expect it is, and I would like to see this. I would like to see him just with a little bit more imposing and a little bit clearer sense of his own confidence in particular. Here, the confidence is kind of on the edge. Technically, though, superb portrait, lovely image, wonderful rendition of the eyes, nice gloss on the skin. Next image, please.
A tea house in early spring light.
Really basic picture of a tea house with a really basic picture of this structure with a little bit of fog rising from the water, the warm water in the foreground. Really basic. The shadow detail is a little bit lacking. The shadows in the background could have been stronger to show the sculptured trees and shrubs in the background more clearly. I think that would have helped the picture. A little more exposure. The picture could have stood actually quite a bit more exposure and still had good highlight detail, and given us more of the sculptured foliage and shrubs in the background. Next image, please.
Under the redwoods.
Oh, back to the mushrooms again. Yay. I've always wondered which one of these are edible. And isn't there a cartoon or something about who was the hero who first did the mushroom tasting for us back in the days of the Neanderthals, back in the days of the cavemen? Anyway, this is a nice composition. This doesn't rely on being a real in-your-face kind of thing the way the other mushroom picture did. There's got to be a comparison between the mushroom pictures, but it does give us a composition of a group of mushrooms. Some say that mushrooms are not actually a group; they're just one colossal underground organism, and what we see are just manifestations of that organism. In any event, these are lovely, delicate looking manifestations. And the clover in the foreground gives us a real good idea of just how tiny and delicate these things really need to be, or really are. Nice composition, good use of depth of field, just the right fraction of the picture is in just the right focus and well exposed. Good post-processing. Good post-processing as well to give us good highlights. Next image, please.
Running takeoff.
So much fun. Wow, look at those splashes in the background. Of course, this is a wildlife type picture, a nature type picture. And what we see, of course, is the swan taking off, splashing across the water with those footprints, the droplets from those footprints frozen in midair, and even a couple of drops where on the left edge of the picture, the swan's wing has just barely scraped the surface of the water and picked up a little splash there. Really good detail throughout the swan. Good management, almost perfect management of all of the highlights throughout the swan's feathers. Terrific texture. Great action shot. I love this picture. Next image, please.
Dune at sunset, Namibia.
Yeah, it looks like spilled coffee, huh? This one's a puzzle for me because of the out of focus. There's an out of focus pool kind of, or what looks like an out of focus pool. Maybe it's just the shadow out of focus pool at the left middle of the picture. In any case, I've never seen sand flow like this, a sand flow like this. And so that impresses me. The sculpture of the sand, of course, lots of wonderful pictures come from the dunes in Namibia. And this is perhaps the most unusual, almost close-up sort of picture that I've seen. The composition is quite strong. We've got that big diagonal line starting at the upper right, running all the way down to just below center on the left edge, with a big highlight running all across. The highlight kind of dominates the picture in the upper part of the picture, and then we have a complementary highlight at the bottom right. So between those two, we have the action of the sand flowing down the hill. Great set of choices on the part of the photographer. Good timing, great time of day to take this picture. Next image, please.
Her name is really Precious, Samburu Village, Kenya.
Yeah. So we got a couple of big smiles here. One confrontational expression on the little girl in the front here, and then one disapproving looking scowl on the matriarch, I think is the matriarch at the left of the picture. So this is pretty good, almost reporting actually, rather than pictorial. Also a nice travel picture. The black and white helps the picture a lot. Really puts really reduces the picture to basic elements, and the basic elements are pretty exciting with all of these different patterns. I think the black and white probably makes the patterns stand out even more than they would in color. So good job on the part of the photographer, technically excellent. Next image, please.
Ballerina practices in makeshift studio.
Yeah, this is all heart here. The sense that somebody has to arrange something like this in order to get for practice in. Is this for privacy? Wow, that's one possible answer. Another possible answer is, and if this is what she has to do to get some privacy so that she can practice her ballet in her tutu, so nice, then that's kind of tugs at the heart just a little bit. Or maybe it isn't privacy. Maybe it's laundry day and she has to practice in among the hanging, drying laundry. Either way, tugs at the heart. The photographer has rendered her just about almost as a silhouette against the rest of the background, making the background and the main subject almost equal in emphasis. But her shape, of course, is so strong that she wins. Next image, please.
5 witches.
Yep. Again, we've got fog in the background, obscuring the far background, we can see some trees just beyond the silos, see some trees just beyond the silos, just beyond the buildings here. And the built a couple of buildings themselves are silhouetted against it, and the sunshine is appearing on the 5 witches in the foreground. I almost expect them to start yelling something like, "I'm melting, I'm melting." But it's a pretty good effect. I have no idea what the 5 witches are all about, but the photographer has used them to good advantage here, nice and large in the foreground. That's kind of what I was getting at with the red barn in the background in an earlier picture. Get up nice and close, use this stuff effectively in the foreground. Next image, please.
And an ominous dawn.
Indeed, it sure is ominous. Again, the photographer here gives us a very strong skyscape with a very bright sky and a shaded foreground. That's always a challenge for photographers in sunsets. We often get with many photographs, we get almost a too dark, featureless foreground when we have such a bright sky. The photographer here has beautifully preserved lots of texture, feature, wonderful contrast in the foreground, even in these mountain peaks along the ridge line. We have real good detail, lots of blue, and then lots of pink highlights reflected from the sky above. Photographer did a masterful job here in managing a very long exposure range and some excellent colors. Next image, please.
Dive, surf, scouter, duck, Sonoma coast.
Yeah, this is fun. This is a fun picture. You get the sense that, whoa, yeah, whether you want to be underwater or not, you're about to be. And I get a real kick here out of the droplets of water. Again, in the picture of the father and daughter, I raved about the texture of the surf. And here again, I'm going to rave some more. The photographer has made a great choice with shutter speed and frozen a lot of the surf droplets right in midair so that we get a really strong sense of texture and of bursting surf bursting across the rocks. So, and this poor little duck is about to catch it. Perfectly placed, great composition, terrific action, great choices all the way around. Wonderful range. Again, here the range of tones is enormous from the side of the duck's head into the depths of the surf that's coming up over the rocks. Good job. Next image, please.
Critique feedback, 11 images. First, lobos stand on the rocks to take selfies. They seem completely unaware of the danger they are in as huge waves break near them.
Yeah, this oftentimes with surf or waves breaking over rocks, excuse me, we lack scale. It's hard to figure out what the scale is because surf can be enormous or it can be intimate, either one. But here the photographer has done a real good job of capturing a couple of people standing on the rocks, and look at the size of this wave that's about to crash, unaware of the danger indeed. And I hope they are not in danger, of course. Once again, choice of shutter speed gives us this this grainy, gritty feel to the water. And of course, it's not grainy or gritty. It's all these droplets that the photographer has captured and really taken advantage of with in rendering it in software at once on the computer. This exaggeration of tone like this, of course, this exaggeration of texture can also be done in the camera. I don't know if it was done in the camera or in post-processing, doesn't matter much, but that exaggeration works perfectly to tell us about roiled seas and flying surf. All the tones throughout are handled quite nicely. We got real good shadow detail. Look at the shadow detail in the rocks where these two are standing. Excellent. Next image, please.
When a fallen tree lays waste to your landscape image.
Interesting caption that goes with this picture. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now that, yeah, the fallen tree does kind of mess up the landscape image because it's busy in the foreground. Next thing I want to say is cut the picture in half from left to right. If you cut the picture in half, you see that red tree that dominates just to the left of center. You see that red tree has some branches reaching out to our right just a little bit into a yellow and orange tree. Cut the picture right down through that yellow and orange tree. And then come in from the left just a little bit, almost to the orange tree on the left there, the orange colored tree. And I think you'll be amazed at the effect of this big curving branch that curves up across the face of that red tree. That will become a dominant element in the picture that's left. So the photographer here has I think, a good and interesting landscape picture kind of embedded in a little bit extra and a little bit more picture than he really needed. So particularly, and all because of the rest of the rubble of this fallen tree. I think by cutting the picture in half, you're going to wind up with twice as much picture. Next image, please.
Young boy, Bangkok, 2020.
Yeah, this is spooky. We're getting the side eye from this kid, and the sense of maturity beyond his years is amplified by the pose of his hands. This is a prayerful pose or a thoughtful pose. Sometimes it is a gesture of greeting, right? Sometimes it is a gesture of thanks, but the hands posed this way, that's often a gesture that has significant meaning. The side eye sometimes has meaning. So the photographer here has extracted, has given us a rather more universal character than a young boy. It seems a little more universal, a little more ambiguous, and much more thought-provoking as far as I'm concerned. Lovely image. Next image, please.
Airport chaos.
Yeah, the photographer refers to this as chaos, and for me, this looks like poetry. The flow through this image from on the left side here, we have a walkway that a moving walkway that is flowing away from us directly into the background of the picture, and then another moving walkway. When that ends at the top of the picture, another moving walkway comes toward us, and then we have two diagonal walkways coming across. But all together, there is this wonderful harmony. The photographer has used colors to produce a terrific harmony throughout the entire picture with the gold and purple. It's almost a cinematic kind of color grade, teal and orange kind of color grade. In any event, I get a sense of rhythm and almost to a poetic extent here, rather than chaos. But I suppose it could be looked at as chaos too. But I just feel the rhythm in the picture, and the picture is visually delightful. Next image, please.
Weathered wood.
Yeah. Ah, look at the textures. This is terrific. The textures are terrific. The paint, which is just about gone, or is seriously deteriorated, forms part of the aging aspect of the picture. And the Stoics, there is an expression among the Stoic philosophers, memento mori, remember death. And this is aging and deterioration, the aging and deterioration and corruption of the human state, and the fires of hell, all in the same picture here. So there's a cosmic or a spiritual or even religious suggestion in the picture, as well as the plain old statement of things wear out. So I also like the one section of peeling paint that we see here at the left, toward the upper, on the left side of the picture, we see distinctly peeling paint, and that just adds a little bit of extra fillip to the picture. Next image, please.
King of the tundra.
King of the tundra. Of course, the polar bear is, we expect polar bears to be somewhat isolated, but the photographer here has given us proof, and proof positive, of the sort of isolation that these creatures in which these creatures live. So bald, barren, what seems to be a bald and barren landscape. And here we are looking at this critter, trying to figure out what it's up to. And what it's up to is something that we can't do. It is catching the wind in its nose, and it's catching a scent, trying to get the news of the day, perhaps of other polar bears in the area, or perhaps of game, perhaps food, perhaps trash. You know, maybe it's catching the scent of a human garbage dump someplace. In any event, I'll think in more romantic terms. It is catching the poetry of the breeze. Next image, please.
Winter tree.
This one is the reflection of the tree underneath the tree helps to convey that the tree is standing in liquid. The tree itself is really isolated against the background. The background is out of focus and misty also, and the top of the picture is foggy, is vignetted to suggest further fog. But all told, I'm wondering what the story is of the tree. I'm wondering what the story is here, wondering what the story is that the photographer is trying to convey. It's although the tree is fairly well rendered on the highlight side, we lose the shadow side. So technically there are some issues with the tree itself, and from a story or an emotional standpoint, the photographer hasn't led me quite far enough along his or her intellectual or emotional path to feel the picture strongly. So I need more evidence. I need more evidence in the picture of what the photographer is up to here. Next image, please.
Symmetry.
Wow, symmetry. There's no question about what the photographer is up to here. It's a mirror image of a plant. The picture has been cut in half. The original picture has been cut and then flipped so that we get this perfect bilateral symmetry. I want the photographer who has complete control, really complete control of the situation. It is a plant, it's backlighted, it's sitting still, and still the photographer, we've got a lot of noise in the picture. It's not just on sharpness, we've got noise in the picture, grain in the picture. And when you have a static subject, I really want the subject to be pretty clean in rendition. The symmetry would still be there if the subject were rendered cleanly. So the symmetry is strong. The technical execution is could be stronger, and I want it to be stronger because the subject is static. The photographer has lots of choices. The photographer has pretty strong control of the situation. I want to see that control exhibited in the picture. Next image, please.
Street vendor, Bangkok 2020.
Well, the photographer may not have much control here, but composition is, I think, a little easier to control than the photographer shows us here. It's a real strange left edge to the picture. We're cutting through the person's headgear, cutting the person's ear off, which is not a tragedy by any means, and then cutting part of the shirt off, cutting part of Popeye's name off, and cutting right through the person's phone or smartphone. And sometimes I could understand that, but what happens now is that puts tremendous emphasis on these horizontal lines, all these horizontal lines in the upper right part of the picture. The whole top of the picture has now become, the subject of it has now become these horizontal lines in the reflections. And I'm not sure that's where we want to go. Not sure that's where we want to go. I think I'd like to have more of this person or more of this person's wares, which seems to be a basket full of Buddhas. As it is, the emphasis is on the lines, and I'm not sure that's what we needed to do. Next image, please.
Fruit Cake Fest 1 of 4. The table is laid out with homemade fruit cakes in Independence, California each December. The price to get into the event is a bottle of eggnog, blooded or not, or a fruit cake. 2 of 4. Local judges moonlight as judges at the event. They taste the cakes and rate them for oldest, traveled furthest, original theme, most solids, and judges award. 3. Janice Odom won the oldest fruitcake. She found her mother's fruitcake in her freezer from 2012. 4 of 4. An 18-year-old fruitcake is brought out and volunteers are selected to judge whether it's still edible. Then the floor opens again to music, dancing, and more eggnog.
What's missing here? Somebody eating a piece of fruitcake. I would feel quite free and quite justified in spanking the photographer who came back to me as a photo editor with this batch of pictures and said, "Oh, here it is reporting on the fruitcakes." No one's eating, especially the last picture where they talk about an 18-year-old fruitcake and they're trying to decide if it's still edible. Where is the person actually taking a bite of this fruitcake? This is, the pictures here in general show a party. This picture shows a kind of party. Yeah, these people are obviously having fun, but I have no idea what they're dealing with in front of them. Previous picture, please. And here we have a nice grip and grin. What we, in the business, we refer to this as a grip and grin. Somebody who has just gotten an award and they're hanging on to the award and showing it with a nice big smile. We usually, unless there's some imperative, we usually avoid such pictures. So this picture is completely expendable. This picture shows the judging process, but nobody's taking a taste. Now, previous picture. Here it is. Look at this. Look at this kiwi fruit cake with the little porcupine, grape covered porcupine on the left of the picture. Wow, I really want the photographer to get in nice and close and get some of the other fruitcakes around it so that we can show the range of, or get some close-ups so that we can show the range of types of fruitcakes, how they're arranged. So we don't get close enough to any of the fruitcakes to really tell a strong story. We get some overall pictures, like this one is overall, could have been closer to a fruitcake. Next picture, nobody's tasting. Next picture, a nice picture of her with her fruitcake would be wonderful. And maybe even taking a taste of it, but not this picture. And last picture, where's the 18-year-old fruitcake? So those are demands that I would make of the photographer in photojournalism. And those show up the weaknesses that I see in this photo sequence. I want to see the fruitcake getting eaten. Next image, please.
Kids at Makers Fair, Bangkok 2020.
This is terrific. Look at this. Two different masks, one across the eyes and one across the mouth and nose. So this is what this picture speaks to me about. The white glasses, the photographer made a great choice here with the white glasses and the white mask. Great choice. And we can all understand the Makers Fair, the kid's eyes are sparkling. The kid in the background has his or her mouth wide open. Wow, this person is saying, if that's what they say in Thai language. But they both have wonderful expressions on their faces, nice bright eyes, and the two different kinds of masks really, I know the glasses aren't masks, but it works for me as thinking about it as two different kinds of masks. Fun picture. Next image, well composed. Next image, please.
That's it. We covered all.
All right. Oops, gotta switch to the other window. Oh, come on. Oh, I gotta get my Zoom window out of here. There we go. First place. Wait a minute. Do I have the right show here? The name is not coming up. One moment. Oh, that's
I'm going
very
to pat myself
unusual.
on the back here. That eucalyptus tree as first place, that was a great choice on my part.
It was a great entry on my part.
I'm using the same preset that I always use. Let me double check to make sure it still has that option.
Beautiful photo, Cindy.
Thank you.
For some reason, if somebody display author's name is unchecked in the preset.
Ah,
I wonder how that could have happened. All right, so let's try this again. There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Congratulations to Cindy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. The color's wonderful.
Lovely bones.
In some of the groups, well, in all of the groups that I for which I judge, the first place winner in each category is asked to make a real brief comment about the picture. Do you do that?
We do all three winners, or actually honorable mentions too.
Ah,
There's
So we-
not really a whole lot to say
It's
about
optional.
One of the things about the Zoom format is we get a much more social interaction, whereas when we were live, it was a lot harder to hear each other and know who was talking.
And I think the real comment here is, Cindy, do you want to say anything about your picture?
No, I don't think there's much to say about this.
Well done.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's nice. You can still
Congratulations.
see the detail.
Very nice.
Very lovely.
Creative Intermediate, 6 images, honorable mention. Mark.
Very nice, Mark.
And
you.
Very different for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really appreciate. I thought all the photographs tonight seemed unusually good tonight, and I loved the judging. So thank you. Yeah, just a water fountain. I played around with it a little bit.
Great color.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back to the preset because it's not saying honorable mention, first place, etc. So something happened to that preset. Okay, let's see. Award. Interesting.
Gotta love technology.
Oh, yeah.
Blame it on
There it
something.
is. I found it. Display awards was not checked either.
Who did that?
Gremlins.
I will inquire of the owners of the website. They log all transaction. I'll say, who is the person who last made the change besides me right now? And maybe we can figure something out. Anyway, let's go back.
Just checking my version and it seems to have the right presets.
Interesting. Okay. So there we go. Third place. It wasn't honorable mention. So I got to do it something else here because they're not coming up in order. Honorable mention should have come up first. I'll be right back.
You want me to show my?
Actually, Bill, if you're seeing the right check marks in your preset, can you run?
Sure.
I can announce, but can you run?
Exactly. Yeah.
Does this mean I might get best in show?
So I will stop my share.
Okay, and I will share.
Sherry will speak. Nope.
And go ahead and move forward into
Right.
advanced.
Okay. Okay, that looks good.
I should get best in show by the number of times you've shown that.
Yeah.
this is getting pretty familiar.
There we go. That's correct. Honorable mention to Greg.
Yeah, this is a piece of farm equipment sitting out next to a vineyard. And I took the photo with the reflection in the pond that it was sitting next to. And it didn't look right to me. I just let it sit in my library for quite some time. And I came back to it and I flipped it horizontally and I flipped it vertically. And this is what I got. And I think it was a lot better. But
Pretty cool.
when I get more proficient, I think I'll have a cow going up that escalator. It's actually a conveyor belt.
Or a bale of hay.
Yeah, it's a conveyor belt that takes bales of hay up into the barn.
Congratulations. Third place, Mark.
You want to hear from me again?
Sure.
You just got bumped up in your reward.
Yeah, that happened fast. Thank you all. I thought all the photos tonight were unusually good. This is one of the best nights I've seen.
Well, you joined in. Good job.
Congratulations. Second place, Sherry.
Sure.
Wonderful.
This is so great.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my dog.
Oh,
I think he likes getting on that little pedestal and posing for me. Yeah, but thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
Really
Nice,
cool.
Sherry.
Congratulations. First place, Ellen.
Wow.
oh, yeah. And she's gone.
Lovely.
The composite.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Great.
Wonderful. Wanna
So
know
that
how
was
she did
one
that.
girl, right?
It
I
was
think
one girl.
so.
I think
She's
it's
not
just
here.
one.
Very entertaining.
She's in India, I think. I think she's in India
Oh.
on her way back from India, but it's
Oh,
awesome.
I really
footage.
want to know.
Kind of looks like the rodeo.
Pretty sure it was
It's
taken at the
rodeo.
rodeo.
Oh, okay.
And she
We've
was
got a few
dancing
shots
for the
of that.
clown.
Little
Neat.
girl.
Congratulations to Ellen. Creative Advanced, 4 images, honorable mention, Trisha.
Oh my God.
That's so creepy.
There are many versions of this this concoction. It's a lot of the images that made it up came from the Petaluma Antique Fair. Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, nice conglomerate.
It's like the Queen of Hearts. Up with her head.
Was that a seller or a buyer?
Wow.
Congratulations. Third place, Linda.
Oh, thank
really
you. That
good.
was taken in my neighborhood on our morning walk, and that's my husband. And it was the fall, and it was using a program called Slow Shutter. I think it was. Yeah, I think that's what it was. iPhone. Yeah, 2.4. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
Really pretty.
Colors in it.
Lots of red on those trees.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Second place, Pat.
My, thank you very much. I thought water offering might be good in more than one level because we've either had too little or too much.
Really nice.
Anyway, thank you.
Congratulations. First place, Laura.
Hilarious.
Impressive.
Thank
Great.
you. Well, I like my wildlife. I had to do something. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Fun image.
I had to find a whale tail that didn't have water dripping off the back end of it because I couldn't figure out how to Photoshop that.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really good.
Congratulations. Creative Masters, 4 images, honorable mention, Bill.
Wow,
Thank you.
Bill.
Yeah, the birds in flight were taken in Bakersfield. There's a feral crop in Bakersfield, and the main subject was taken in Delhi, New Delhi.
Oh, interesting.
In the,
Great.
and the
images.
cage is a toy cage I had to buy online in order to get a cage in my image.
Really great idea.
Yeah.
Really,
A lot of
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Third place, Mike. Mike is traveling.
That's
I
so cool. I
love
love
this.
the colors.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Those are
beautiful.
amazing.
That's phenomenal.
Great.
Keep
Wonderful
seeing all kinds
colors.
of things in it. Faces and
Actually, it struck me as almost being like oil.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
neat.
exactly.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Good use of color and form.
nice.
Congratulations to Mike. Second place, Mike again.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, cool.
Right.
This is really stunning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
That's an
interesting. Yeah.
Blends in.
Love to hear his
Very
explanation.
Native
Mhm.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of different from
Congratulations.
Mike's style.
That is different from Mike. Very much so.
Yeah,
First
wow.
place.
All right, Steve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good job.
Great
Really
job,
good.
Steve.
Len, did my title and so forth evoke memories of your breaking glass in classes?
That's what I thought of.
No, well, I will tell you, I know my fractured glass. I'll tell you that right now.
Anyway, in this shot, the sun is actually not setting behind the tree. It's actually off to the right, off camera. But in manipulating parameters as to how it was simplifying the colors and reflecting, I tried it several times, and when it popped out looking behind the tree, that's when I seized on it.
Yep.
Good choice.
Yeah,
Nice
nice.
job.
Very,
Beautiful.
very nice.
Steve.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Journalism, intermediate, 3 images, 3rd place, Amy. And I don't think she's here tonight.
No.
Uh,
Like to go there.
Congratulations to Amy. 2nd place, Greg.
Beautiful.
It's cool.
Nice, Greg.
Really nice.
A lot of guitars.
Yeah, this is a really fun show. They have it every year.
Wow.
And this is the first year I've gone to it, and I'm glad I did. I'm not a collector of guitars. I own one. I play it every now and then. And it's kind of fun just to look at all these guitars. And this particular lineup of Telecasters worth probably $150,000
Jeez.
Wow.
just based on the price tags they had on each.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So where is this?
It's at the Marin Center.
Oh,
You know, the
Oh.
exhibition hall.
yeah.
The Marin Club actually had a lot of their photographs posted at the exhibition hall there.
Ah,
It was
Really?
kind of a 2-for-1.
Healdsburg used to have a guitar festival.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
1st place, Sherry.
Oh,
Oh,
Sherry.
thank you
Yeah.
so much. I know many of you go to this event every year. It's just really remarkable. And if you haven't, I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Nice
much.
job. Nice job.
That was a nice capture of that building.
Mhm. And this one too.
Nice.
Yeah,
This
that one's
is
a nice
great
one too.
image too.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Journalism advanced, 4 images, honorable mention, Pat. You're muted, Pat.
I see that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think maybe you're right that this would be better in another category, but thank you very much for your comments.
Incredible.
Congratulations.
They did.
3rd place, Jennifer, who's traveling.
Great, great.
Yeah.
2nd place, Phil.
Yeah, this hotel I stay at quite regularly when I go up to visit my son, and it's right next door to the Renton Airport. So the jets actually are all spread out all over the airport. And last time I was up there, I took the same photo, and it was snowing. So it was quite interesting too. So I may show you.
Looks so out of place.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Congratulations. 1st place, Laura.
Thank you. I was a little concerned about having the rescues, the whole flooding thing in 2 different things, but I needed images, but yeah.
Where's the otter?
Where's the otter?
No, you can
Yeah,
go-
no otter in that one. That would have been too hard to do the composite and get all the hair and all that on it. So
You could have done it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Congratulations. Journalism Masters, 4 images, honorable mention, Steve. He was here.
Yeah.
No,
I don't see him.
Mm,
yeah, he was here. You're right.
Congratulations
Nice
to
to meet
Steve.
yeah.
Third place. Tamara, who is also traveling.
A lot of fun, beautiful.
Yeah, really cool.
Good find.
I even like the shadow of her on the wall.
Yeah,
Mhm,
isn't that
yeah.
neat? Yeah, that's a good choice.
Congratulations to Tamara. Second place, Tony. Yeah.
Mara is at home in Nairobi, but she said, but it's like early in the morning and she was going to try to get in if she would be let in. I don't know if she tried to get in or not.
I didn't see her in the waiting room.
Okay.
Over.
She was going to try, but I think, you know, it's like 4:30, 5:30 in the morning. So
Yeah.
And Tony's kind of laid up with a
Yeah.
cold, I think.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Congratulations to Tony. First place. Me.
Right.
Steve.
Nice, Steve.
And in doing
Very nice.
Good
Great
job,
shot.
Steve.
Great shot.
doing this shot, I was doing what's called run and gun. I was running all around trying to get different angles. And the challenge, I was trying to get as many up in the air and also separated enough.
Right.
A lot of the shots, they were all clumped together and you couldn't make anything out. And so this was the only shot out of dozens where I got them all up in the air and the people down below all crossing their arms together.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's good.
Great shot.
It's a good shot.
the long hair on the drop.
Thank you.
Great catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Pictorial basic, 5 images, honorable mention. Ed.
Gorgeous. That's beautiful.
Oh, man, yeah.
Looks cold.
It was not bad.
There's a tinge of pink.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
It was
Color
well
palette is
behaved
gorgeous.
later in the day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice shot.
Congratulations. Honorable mention Ed also.
Oh,
Looks like the Laguna.
It is.
oh, blueberries in the Laguna. Wow.
Well, I think the blueberry farm is gone now.
Oh,
Apparently, they took it away, but
Oh, Tamara just arrived.
Right.
From Africa. Hey.
I love
Hey,
how you
Tamara.
used the foreground on that, Ed.
the
It looks like-
reflections, I was very pleased with the reflections.
yeah.
It looks like calligraphy in the front.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
very
after
nice.
Tamara connects, Bill, could you pop back to her
Sure.
picture so she can comment? The gallery in the dark, second place in the journalism. It's like 3 or
Thanks,
4
Laura.
pictures back. Was it third place? There
There
it
we
is.
go. Yeah.
Tomorrow you got third place.
Yay.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just got up and I thought, hey, it's still on. I'm going to sign on because Cindy was so nice to send me the link to remind me. Oh, well, nice to see everyone.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, this one was just a fun little cell phone picture because the lights go off in South Africa, like I put in the title, 4 times a day because they have no electricity. And it's so funny how everyone they don't even think anything about it. They're so used to it now. And you're in this dark gallery and all of a sudden everybody's just picks up their cell phones and starts watching. Starts looking.
Cool.
Great capture.
Yeah. Nice having you here.
Yeah, nice to be here. I always say I'm gonna do it, but then I don't wake up in time.
It's early for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And third place, Ed.
Wow.
Patrick.
Great
Yeah.
shot.
Beautiful.
Who knew rocks could float?
Only in Iceland.
I just love the water. That's just beautiful. How
Yeah.
you did that.
Mhm.
61 seconds.
61 seconds. Yeah.
It must be a magic number. I have to write that down.
Not 60.
Monty Python, not 60.
Congratulations. Second place,
Oh.
Cindy.
Hey,
Wow.
hey, yay.
Cindy, this is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Great
Yeah.
color.
Great light. Nice.
What time of day?
This was early morning, probably it's winter, it's in December. So I'm guessing it was 6:45 or so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whenever the sun comes up during the winter.
Yeah, it's
And,
stunning.
anybody that's been at Bosque probably knows this place. And it's everybody hangs out there for the blast off in the morning, so. that was
Really?
it.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. First place, Cindy also.
Oh,
That's a cool
That is so
photo.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Great
Where
shot.
is this?
Yeah.
This was at the same place. This was at Bosque last year as well. They had an amazing number of blackbirds that were there. And
Wow.
it was one of their murmurations that they were all up in the air.
Beautiful background and foreground. Great image.
wonderful art.
Yeah.
Very
This is-
nice.
This is
Beautiful.
December.
I think that little strip at the bottom is brilliant to leave that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have been lost without that. Huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Grounds.
gorgeous.
Good
Thank you.
observation.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Pictorial Intermediate, 4 images, honorable mention, Mark.
Cool.
Yeah, this was in Colorado Springs. I think they call it Pulpit Rock. And I was at my son's house and I took a long photo of it and didn't even know he was up there till I opened it up. So
What a nice surprise.
thank you.
Congratulations. Third place, Sherry.
Oh, thank you. This is also at the Napa Lighted Arts Festival. One of the projections was a waterfall.
Very cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Really neat.
Bell bottoms are coming back.
Yeah, that reflection turned out
Yeah.
really neat. The shadow came out really neat.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
Congratulations. Second place, Greg.
That's
Oh,
great.
Love
That is
that.
so
So
cool.
cool.
That is
Great
so
This
shot.
was,
The light.
this is at Black's Beach down in Santa Cruz. And I had all afternoon to sit and watch the waves crash up against this rock
Mm.
and get my settings right. But the fun thing about this is that these pelicans were really having a great time. What they do is they jump off, and then when the birds jumped off, the other birds would step up and get next in place.
Oh,
And you could watch the birds that flew away. They would go out and they'd circle around and they'd come back and get at the end of the line. They were just
Wild.
taking their turn and having fun, jumping off when the waves hit really, really big.
What a great.
Lovely.
That's when you
he
need a
really
long
caught
video.
that sense of fun.
It was
Yeah.
really a
Really
good,
fun.
really a good outing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The
Nice
top
shot,
bird
Greg.
looks like a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And if you look really close, there's a seagull in there. He got the wrong memo.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Yeah, I love it.
First place, Ellen.
Oh,
I think this was a field trip we took
Mhm.
to Sausalito.
Huh.
So what is that, a platform?
Mm-hmm. Like a raft
Mhm.
that was sunken.
No.
Almost looks like a surfboard or something.
Yeah.
There's too many
I
people.
thought it was a
on that.
paddleboard at first, but then I see there's that white thing on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
Ah, yeah.
Didn't even notice that.
Interesting.
Fun.
Congratulations. Pictorial Advanced, 4 images, honorable mention, Tricia.
That is
Oh,
so
another
cool.
group I belong to just did a field trip to the Pacific Coast Air Museum.
Yeah.
And I just was really struck by how much these blades look like birds' beaks.
Mm-hmm.
So I played with
Well
that.
put,
Thank you.
well described.
Really?
Nice bird's beak.
Interesting.
Thought they were pliers at first, or the one was the inner ones I thought were pliers maybe.
Huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I can see that.
Good title
Congratulations.
too.
Third place, Jennifer, who's traveling.
Nice.
Lovely.
Wow. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, nice job with that.
Congratulations to Jennifer. Second place, Linda.
Oh, Linda.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
Oh, I thank
Great
you. That-
image.
Thank
That
you.
is-
That was in Napa, a meetup workshop that I went to one time. It was really neat. The people let us go all the way through, walk around, sit down in there and take pictures, and were really nice to us about that.
Yeah, great
Thanks
image.
for all your
Yeah,
comments.
cool image.
Love the time.
That vineyard had a good harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to sample the grapes.
No.
Aw.
Little wine tasting
Congratulations.
after.
First place,
Oh
Laura.
my God.
Nice shot.
That's so awesome.
I watched this guy. He got two fish, and he had to bring them on shore and sit there and he'd spit it out, and he'd take a little bite and he'd spit it out. And yeah, it was fun to watch. Him
Great
trying to
image.
figure out how he was gonna swallow that thing.
I'm curious because of it's flounder. Where did you take it?
It was at the Birdwalk, Bodega.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I've seen. There's a river otter. I've seen him there a few times out there.
How
Very
many
nice.
hours do you spend there?
I mean, there or just out in general.
No, I mean, you get such great shots.
I do spend. Wildlife is hard. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of time being out. So
Great job.
You got it.
And then the rest of my time is work. It's like photography and work is all I do. So
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Great shot, Laura.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Pictorial Masters, 8 images, honorable mention, Jack.
Oh,
That's unusual for him, huh?
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's,
I think he did a
Well-
trip to Cuba.
he's stretching himself. Congratulations to Jack. Honorable mention, Tamara.
Tomorrow, this is gorgeous.
Thank you. I don't know. Sorry, I thought I turned on my camera, but I can't remember how to do all this. And I just walked.
Sorry.
there you are.
thought you were in pajamas.
No, I'm not. No, but I'm on my phone. I was on my phone and I never do this on my phone. And I thought I had everything turned on. But anyway, yeah, Namibia is an astounding place. That's literally on the Namibian Angolan border. And there are these sand dunes right up to the river. And I was sitting on the deck of our little house at the camp up there, watching the wind blow the sand over the edge of the sand dune. And I was taking all these pictures of the river, and all of a sudden I said, that's actually more pretty. So
Yeah. I love
Go
that.
turn around and
It's
look
a
behind
beautiful
you.
area. It's a beautiful area.
Any idea
Wow.
what caused the sand to dribble down sort of
Yeah.
like that?
Well, if you can tell, the wind is coming up from the backside a little bit. You can see kind of softer. And so it was drizzling down the front side.
Okay.
And I'd been taking pictures of trying to get the wind blowing the sand on the left side. And then I sort of went, oh, wait a minute. Again, what I'm not looking at is the more interesting thing.
That's a lot of the detail.
Really great.
Wow.
Thanks. But it is like 100 degrees, of course. So
What time of day was that?
that was evening.
Okay.
I mean, I processed it a little bit, but.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
that's,
make-
I wasn't sure. Yeah, no, it's a great image. That's why I didn't know what time of day it was.
Yeah, I think I put it in the title, sunset, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But, oh, I'm trying to remember, but thank you. That was just kind of a fun one.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Honorable mention tomorrow again.
This is one of my favorite pictures from spending time up in the tribal area. We belong with this charity. We help with a charity that drills wells for these people up in the really super dry north. And we went up because to celebrate this well having just been drilled, and then we were in their village, and these, you know, they don't mind they're taking our picture, unlike a lot of people in that area, especially after you give them water. They're very happy. And they're all just so happy. And this little girl in her dress. And then when I was trying to find out what her name was, and they told me Precious in English, I just said, oh my gosh.
Great image.
So many interesting details.
Thank you much. Yeah, I tried.
Great job with your charity too.
Oh, thank you. I wanted it to leave it in color because they're so colorful, but it was so colorful that it just looked kind of fake and oversaturated. So I just had to give up and make it black and white.
Really shows the detail.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Honorable mention, Liz.
Oh, thanks. I go to Connecticut and my sister drives me around at dawn or early morning and take pictures.
Fun.
So what were these, like scarecrows?
It was near Halloween, and I guess that was their form of decoration.
Oh, okay.
The fog was fun, and the silos in the back I liked. Thank you.
What those were.
Congratulations. Honorable mention, Bill.
Yeah, this is the king tide. This is at Dillon Beach. And the king tide brought the ducks in pretty close to the shore to where I could finally get a decent picture of them. I've been trying to photograph these ducks for a long time. And they just wait right up to the last split second, and then they dive. And then the wave passes over and they come back up, usually with food. And they do that over and over and over. They could even feel the wave coming, I think, without looking at it. When they're facing toward me, toward the camera, they would still dive at exactly the right moment, just as the wave comes in.
Their whole.
Great image.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Nice.
Congratulations. Third place, Jack.
Nice image.
Cuba.
Yeah.
I was wondering
Very
if this is a composite.
I don't think so.
Really interesting.
I love the sheep.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's Cuba, so they do things like.
Nice
Great.
capture with her head in the window too. It's
Yeah,
just
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Congratulations to Jack. Second place, Mike.
nice.
Look at the detail on the lighting and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hard not to overexpose it.
Yep.
So hard to get a vision through the reeds down there.
Plus every drop of water is sharp.
Yeah.
Perfect depth of field.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mike. First place, Herb.
All right. Good job,
Thank
Herb.
you. This was a morning, my son lives in Bishop, so every morning I get up before sun is out. This was the day I wasn't going to even go out because the weather was forecast to be so miserable. But I said, let me just get out there. And this incredible sky opened up, unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And the winds are blowing, and it made these shapes in the clouds that I thought were really unique. So a little compositional tweaking, and pretty much the colors and everything is straight as it is. So
wow,
Wonderful image. I love your landscapes.
Great.
They're great.
Great.
Amazing
beautiful.
size.
Neat nature, great.
yeah, it is.
Congratulations. And
drum roll.
best of show.
Can't even imagine.
Nice. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's great.
Wow.
Congratulations,
Great.
Steve.
Yeah,
Good shot.
good shot.
Really?
Lots of fun.
So that
Thank you.
wasn't the rapture then.
Yeah.
That was a great comment.
Have you sent it to the group?
I will.
You should.
And
Hey, Len, I just want to shout out to you. Thanks for your judging and really
Yeah.
liked your humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you have great knowledge.
Great job.
Thanks for
That's-
Style-
sharing.
Great job.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Got a
One of
lot.
the best.
Appreciate
Learned a
it.
lot.
Look forward to hearing more from you.
Yes.
I
Stop-
hope so. You had a,
Stop sharing.
there's been a couple of comments from you folks saying, gee, we had a lot of good pictures in the competition, and you certainly did. You certainly did. I have said lots of times that I really enjoy commenting on the pictures and making contributions when I can. If I can do some coaching, that's fine. If I can offer praise, that's even better. And the difficult part always for me is ranking the pictures. It's always a heartbreak to rank the pictures. Many of you did wonderful things, and I was not able with really good conscience to place first, second, and third in some cases, but I knew I had to do it, and I did the best I could.
You did fantastic.
Excellent
Yeah,
job.
good
Great
job.
job. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Positive feedback.
You're welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good
good
see you
night.
all. Be well.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
do you want me to sync the awards or will you do it?
Oh, I can do it. Sure.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bill.